involves the discovery of a 300-foot-wide hole boring under the Antarctic surface that supposedly leads to an immense underground chamber and tunnel network stretching for hundreds of miles. In many areas of the world, from ancient sites in South America to religious caves in Turkey, underground tunnels have existed for millennia, dug out deep in the bedrock often for spiritual or ceremonial purposes. But what if a massive one was recently detected in an extremely remote and hostile place like Antarctica, and constructed not by ancient indigenous tribes, but rather by advanced alien species working together with the human race? In late 1985, an emergency medical evacuation flight had to be redirected in mid-air to avoid a no-fly zone over Marie Byrd Land, one of Antarctica's largest regions. While soaring over the towering Transantarctic mountain range at a low operating altitude, First Officer Bradford's chin nearly hit the floor as he gazed out his side window. A massive, gaping circular opening was visible just adjacent to the mountains that had to be at least 300 feet wide, large enough to engulf their 737 aircraft, whole. The pit descended so deeply into the ice that the bottom was unable to be seen. Surrounding the anomaly were vehicle caterpillar tracks crisscrossing everywhere, which Bradford confirmed by checking compass readings were indeed on the Antarctic landmass and not part of the open ocean fly zone. But the underground hole with its clearly artificial industrial openings was forever burned into his memory. Upon returning to his home base in Christchurch, New Zealand, Bradford told his superiors and colleagues of what he saw. For the next 2 days, he answered questions from unfamiliar men clad in suits carrying identity badges of a nondescript eagle. Shortly afterward, Bradford disappeared, and none of his fellow crew members ever saw him again. However, when his possessions were mailed back to family members, the developed photographs were gone. Nearly 2 decades later, in 2002, Bradford resurfaced briefly in an online conspiracy forum, relating elements of his bizarre abduction experience that he refused to fully elaborate on. Under the username Snowman, he confessed that he was explicitly instructed never to speak of the giant ice hole to any other soul,